Hey, you're listening to the 5 for 5 show from Boombox Music Talk.
Yeah, now let's see, where were we?
Oh, please, Professor, why can't we go with you and see all the crowned heads of Europe?
Do you know any? Oh, you mean the thing? Yes, I never do anything without consulting my crystal first.
Welcome to Boombox Music Talk, and I'm not saying the rest of it. I don't have to prove anything to you. I'm Marc.
And I'm Krish. Hey,
Ooh, melodies.
Melodies and harmonies. Is that a fetish party?
Glad you said party at the end of that. Is that a fetish? Lots of people like those two things.
Bitch, it might be.
Is you rolling? Is you rolling? Is you rolling? Is you rolling?
Bitch, I might be. Bitch, I might be. Bitch, I might be. Bitch, I might be.
Previously on Boombox.
Yeah.
So I get that, I guess. It's just a shame to limit yourself by the sound of the instruments and not by the bigger esoteric ideas of music and what it means and how it can transcend different sounds and still move you. John and I are very similar in so many ways, and then we'll splinter off directions that are very, very polar opposites of each other. I will often go in this direction that's more electronic and controlled. And he'll go a different direction that's a little bit more unchained, free-spirited.
Fundamental thing about sensitivity training is that you cannot make fun of a person for something or some action that they have done that they regret. You can only make fun of things that they have control over.
We got to. We got to.
I can feel you on that. So any other feelings that you felt from filming this song when you felt it?
A lot of feelings.
And now, the conclusion. Number 3, Aero Chord with Break Them, and SepticFlesh with Prometheus.
We'll move along into my number 3, which is a song that this artist, Aero Chord, it's A-E-R-O, and then Chord, C-H-O-R-D. They kind of came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, it was like dropping song after song that was really badass. And the song that kind of hit Krish and I the hardest, I think, by them was a song called Break Them. we'll take a listen to it and kind of see what your thoughts are. It's funny because it kind of reminds me of some of the lyrics of the first song we listened by him that he recommended, the horses, whatever.
A horse is a horse, of course, and no one can talk to a horse, of course. That is, of course, unless the horse is the famous Mr. Ed. Go right to the source.
What the fuck was the name of the song?
Really reminded you of it, didn't it?
Cry of the Blackbird?
Cry of the Blackbird, yes. No, I just can't remember.
Horses across the
Horses
field.
Winnie.
I just can't.
Horses Weenie.
Yeah.
Weenie the horse. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we're going to do that now.
We do need the horse.
To pieces, turn their feet around, they will leave defeated. They will crumble at the sight of our legion. If you want the crown, then you've got to break them down.
So we just popped over to the Boombox Music Talk YouTube channel and listened to Aero, Chord, and Anna Yvette sing "Break Them," which I don't want to speak for you, Chris, but I know that when it first came out, this is one of the ones that hit us hard immediately. We were just like, "Whoa, that's just fucking cool." Like,
it was just one of the ones that that type of drop and breakdown that it had that we really, really liked, and it had a really inventive way of using that saw, sound effect, and it was just fun,
Yeah. And I felt like the thing that makes the breaks with it's kind of like, because it's pretty just simple in scope and what it's doing, and not a lot of movement, It's just sounds kind of staying in the same sound scope, but if it's cool because the first has such a cool melody like that. The melody is what gets me on it every time. Like I want to be heroic. Like it reminds me of Bonnie Tyler. I need a hero.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was thinking.
That same kind of feeling, when I was a kid. Like
totally.
That's kind of how I feel. I don't know, John. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I didn't quite get the heroic sort of thing out of it, but I really liked the line. I mean, I liked the vocals in it big time.
Yeah.
I was immediately drawn to the tone of her voice.
Yeah.
I was just like, I fell in love with her basically through that song.
Right.
I was just like, whoa. I gotta
hear more of that. Yeah.
So that was the big thing. I think the one thing that I have trouble with, and I think it's just because it's the intent on what you're listening a song for. Like the intent of just sitting and listening to this song, the structure kind of almost sometimes seems all over the place. Like you got this beautiful sort of like vocal track, and then it kind of just stops and does this, little dubstep kind of like interlude, and then maybe it comes back to the vocal track and it does another interlude. Kind of, so it from that perspective, it doesn't feel as cohesive,
right?
But when it's a background piece for me, and I'm just kind of have it in the background, it works for that. In fact, not to get too lewd, but that would be a perfect song to like have sex to.
Yes.
Or just to make out, we
have a Pandora station for that.
I was instantly put there. I mean, it was just like,
just feels that way.
Just see it, hang with somebody.
Well, okay, so what's funny about that is there's a perception sometimes of electronic music being kind of very contained. And a lot of this kind of stuff is written by people who are more like kind of DJ artists.
Right.
They're musical. They know music, but so what they're doing as they do it is they have all these samples and loops of things. So they're always layering and unlayering as they go. So they have sections that are the same, just like you do like in a rock song or whatever, like a verse, chorus, break, whatever. But within those things, sometimes things will change more than it would in a regular song because it just depends on what kind of feeling they're feeling when they get there, of what things that they add to layer in on each other.
So sometimes they might speed it up, they might slow it down, they might, I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird because when hearing you guys talk about it, you're like on a different level than what I'm,
Right.
You notice things. So you've obviously been around this type of music more.
Yeah.
And so you hear those things a lot better than I do, so I'm not like they're maybe went below me or something or above me, whatever.
And there are a lot, it's very much like the metal kind of stuff that we're hearing too, is that you have to kind of listen to it a couple of times and then you start to get where they're going and then it makes sense. But if you just listen to it just off the fly, like, oh, this is the next song on the radio, and you're like, what? But once you sit with it for a little bit, you start to understand kind of what they're doing, and then it becomes very cool. Right.
It's like an instrumental story, kind of probably much in the same way that yours is. It's like you're building this picture, with the different instruments.
My father and I came to be at odds, so I forged my own path. But he was still my father when you put a sword through his chest.
So that's why you're not gonna help me. That's why you won't tell me who this Prometheus is.
Number 3 for you.
Yeah,
we're at that point already.
Yeah, in fact, I was looking down at my sheet here and I thought, wow, I didn't realize that I'd picked 2 bands that were Greek metal bands, but this is also another metal band, extreme metal by this. In fact, it's kind of has a symphonic element to it. I don't know why I'm just flipping out here.
Yeah, they're good.
I really like them.
I like them because they're good. And stuff.
Like them too with me, please. It's one of those bands that when people ask me like what I'm listening to lately, I can never remember the name, and I look at it and I go, how could I forget that? It's SepticFlesh.
Oh yes, you told me that the other day, and I immediately vomited, and I came back and said, okay, tell me about this band.
So it's one of their newer tunes from an album called Titan, and the song's called Prometheus.
Well, I do love the word Titan. I mean, I studied mythology pretty in-depthly at ironically it was for English and I can't speak, so I flank out.
Turn
learn how to read because I read better. Because I hear it's like good for you or something. Anybody here? It's got a good reputation, right? Nobody ever badmouths it. You never see a point-counterpoint show about reading. And in the pro side of reading, like a professor with a bow tie. And in the opposite side, hey, let me tell you something. Reading don't never do nothing. Because if you did hazarded a book, and you have looks at it, then you might not even know why you had to do that. I have nothing to add.
Anyway, so Titan, Prometheus, those are, I mean, that's awesome. You're hitting some of my words, like, okay,
you're hitting your G-spot.
I've got him right with a word now, Hill.
Yeah,
but this is one of the very, very interesting tune, I think, by them. It really blends the symphonic with the extreme sort of metal. So
okay, cool. Let's take a listen. So we just hopped over to the YouTube channel there and listened to what was the name of the band?
SepticFlesh.
SepticFlesh.
It's called track called Prometheus.
Prometheus, yes, on their album Titan, which already I have such a soft spot for anything Prometheus. Just I mean, Prometheus Rising, Robert Anton Wilson was just such a pivotal.
Never believe fully in anybody else's BS. I don't care if it's Roger Nish, the Pope, L. Ron Hubbard, Al Gore, George Bush, or I don't care who it is. Don't swallow all their belief system totally. Don't accept all of their bullshit. They're all their BS. The second rule is like unto the first. Don't believe totally in your own BS. Which means that, as Bucky Fuller said, the universe consists of non-simultaneously apprehended events. Non-simultaneously. The universe consists of non-simultaneously apprehended events, which means any belief system or reality tunnel you've got right now is going to have to be revised and updated as you continue to apprehend new events later in time, not simultaneously. This is the natural functioning of the human brain. It's the way children's brains perform before they're wrecked by the school system. It's the way the minds of all great scientists and artists work. But once you have a belief system, everything that comes in either gets ignored if it doesn't fit the belief system, or it gets distorted enough so that it can fit into the belief system. You got to be continually revising your map of the world.
If you guys listen, if you want to read a book that will probably change the course of your life, at least in just a little bit, in some ways, go out and check out Robert Anton Wilson's book, Prometheus Rising, that my brother John here actually introduced me to. I've been trying to get my wife to read that. She's got a stack of about 17,000 books.
I know that feeling.
And I've started all of them. Yeah. I just haven't finished any of them.
It'll take you like 10 years to finish all if you start all of them them at once.
I know. Well,
one day we'll just finish the library all at once.
Yeah, it will happen.
I'm done.
Yep, we're done. Now we can die.
No, but yeah, I mean, you can know kind of about just what the thinks the prover proves. So anyway, so you had some feelings on this song right away. What was that?
So
aside from running to run away and scream.
No, it wasn't even that. Actually, surprisingly, well, first of all, the song very much feels Prometheus to me. Like it's very much an embodiment of what I would imagine Prometheus. So
like if Prometheus came down right now, we'd be like, hold on, play this.
Let's play your song. Let's play the song of your people.
He's a god that becomes associated with humans because he's a champion for humans. Right? The mythological stories talk about how Prometheus is basically like their representative.
Yeah. Wait, go back, come back again.
Let's do that again.
But yeah, no, I was expecting, just for this experience overall with this type of metal, I was expecting not to be hearing music that made sense, I guess I should say. But I've been pleasantly surprised. All three so far of the selections that you've shown us have been pretty fucking cool, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Well, I mean,
like,
she's a big fan of at least the first Evanescence album. After that,
so
it doesn't really matter. But I mean, and it has a lot of those symphonic kind of elements, and she gravitates towards a lot of that anyway, and I do too. I mean, anytime you can introduce any other sounds to me, it's just cool. But I loved the use of like the horns. That's something that's kind of different. Not everybody does that. I think that was those sliding trombones they were doing on that part. It just it sounded really cool. Like you mentioned, I think.
But it gave it such a different depth than a lot of other songs maybe in that genre, or even just metal songs to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Like it gave it a different depth.
Yeah, there tends to be in a lot of what I listen to, some of the sort of extreme metal that's out there, I get bored by, but bands like this, they give me the heaviness I'm looking for, but there's an intelligence there behind the composition and things like that.
And you can tell that too by by what you're listening to. Like you can tell it's evident in their product.
Yeah.
It's not just an accident.
However, it was funny that I thought two things while we were listening to that. One, there was some parts where they went in some different places with the strings than I would have necessarily went, or whatever. But it reminded me of like me. I remember showing you Skid Row's second album, Slave to the Grind, and there's some slow songs on there like Quicksand Jesus. They're just fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah, that's a great album.
So I remember showing you the harmonies, and I was trying to like learn how to do those because they were so good, and you kind of were like, well, they're not really doing some things right, and because you were just caught up in your Guitar Institute days, and you don't remember that?
No, I don't.
Yeah, you were just
because I remember I really love that album.
No, you kind of there was a time period where you kind of put that down a little bit in terms of where you went vocally with some stuff, and I was kind of seeing like what you were listening to now. I'm proud of you. Stepping out of that a little bit now, I'm listening to things that don't necessarily always go together like they're supposed to.
Yeah, I think in his voice at that time, I mean, he didn't have a real refined voice.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a singer where, every note was pitch perfect and I was stuck in that musical element at that time. But I come to appreciate that stuff a lot more now because it was so rock and roll. You know, it's not perfect. It's just him, you know, his showing his emotion and just putting himself out there, and that's what was so cool about it. So
yeah. So that I'll definitely check out some more stuff by them too. Anything that's cinematic like that, we're usually down for checking out.
Here at Boombox, we love celebrating great classic albums and artists that left us forever changed. But we also love that dopamine trip we get from discovering new artists that instantly bring about goosebumps. With over 20,000 songs in our home library, it's an addictive habit we should probably think about curbing one day. But for now, here's Aviva.
You keep calling me a
Born in Australia as Aviva Anastasia Payne. With a name like that, you've got to be destined for greatness, right? In the realm of artists like Billie Eilish and 21 Pilots, she debuted in 2017 with her viral smash hit Girls.
I could say I'll take you, I could say I'll make you, but underneath all I
Between then and now, she has released hit after hit after hit with an original vibe, fresh production, and all the whimsy even Alice had in Wonderland.
blame it on the
Whether it's peanut butter on your brain like Psycho, syncopated melodies on Rabbit Hole, or hitting you right in the feels after that missing downbeat on the chorus of Blame It on the Kids. She brings it every time, so check her out, let us know what you think, and now back to the show.
Number 2, Krewella with Beggars, and Behemoth with Lucifer.
Say my name again, watch me start a riot. Push me to the edge, I know you wanna try it.
This next one, I'm sure you've probably heard of at some point, but it's a group called Krewella. They've got two female lead singers that I think that you would probably fall in love with as soon as you saw anything. So I'm going to show you the video when we listen to it. They're one of those that have kind of just they came along and they stood out among the rest. I feel like, don't you think, Chris? Like they were a notch above everybody else in terms of just songwriting and putting the whole package together. So
for sure.
So anyway, we're gonna pause and listen to Krewella's song "Beggars."
This one is for the fucked up, chewed up, spit out, stepped on. No luck, no fucks, tough love, half blood, stripped down, beat down, blacked out, choking. No sound, no crown, burnt up, broken. We're always eager for so much more. 'Cause reality is a cancer and we've discovered the cure. They took your money and your freedom and your time. They almost took it all, but they'll never take your mind. This one is for the beggars. Stand up if you're feeling reckless. They don't understand that we're heartless. We'll never be the same, so we take till we get our fucking way. Beggars, stand up if you're feeling reckless. They don't understand that we're heartless. We'll never be the same, so we take till we get our fucking way. Take. Till we get our fucking way.
want to go to you, Chris. Though, what are your when you think of Krewella, do you feel like they're still as relevant today as when they started, or
definitely some of the more relevant, really, of their genre?
Yeah.
To be honest, I think they're still going very strong. I'm never bored by them. They're consistently creative.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it. They are.
Yeah.
The job is through. Yeah, it's done. I own you. This war is won. You play your part. Yeah, you hang on. 'Cause you'd rather die in my arms. I'll give you nothing.
They're not afraid to step outside the box. They're very confident in what they're producing. So, I believe.
Yeah, it feels very authentic what they're doing.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes you get people in that age range, and you can tell they're just trying to
just get
act
famous,
like a certain
or
thing.
just get money, or just be cool, or it's not about the emotion or the feeling of what they're trying to.
Yeah,
they're trying to produce there.
Yeah, it was off air, off tape. That John and I were talking about this song, and I mentioned that it would make kind of a cool rock song, cool rock version of it, and I was kind of surprised that you were like, oh, I don't know if I would want to mess it up, or kind of like how it is.
Why fuck up a good thing, man?
Oh no, it's because there's a cleanness without the sort of distorted guitars and stuff that it has that I wouldn't want to mess up. No, I really dig it. I would listen to this just in my car. I mean, I would just to listen to it, because I dig their vocal style, that sassy sort of in your face kind of thing they got going on, and the whole feel, the video I kind of watched while we were listening to it, and it had kind of an adult, not adult, dark sort of occult feel to it, so anytime you got that's aces for me too. So no, I dug the song. The dubstep part of it was so well put into it that it didn't distract the song from me. I got into the song as it was without, but it added to it.
And they're really consistent. Like she said, they're consistently good at that. They continually surprise me, where I'm like, I keep expecting to be kind of tired of listening to them, but they keep coming out with stuff that just is just spot on.
Just the beat inside my soul. Take me home, where my dreams are made of gold. In the zone, where the beat is uncontrolled. I know what it feels like. Come on, make me feel alive.
I've seen some acoustic performances of them, and they've got some pipes. I mean, they can actually really sing too. They're really
I can kind of tell.
Shit,
whoever it was that was kind of mainly singing was.
Yeah, and they
really
both kind of
vocals.
trade off. There's a lot of songs where they're both just doing harmonies and singing and stuff, and they have their distinct styles, but they're both spot on most of the time. So that was my number 2. That's a big one for me. I almost put it as number 1 just because they kicked my ass when they first came out, and they still are kicking my ass today.
I'm a broken record.
Yeah,
I'm sad to say I really like your number 2.
Well, that's why I saved it for you, buddy.
No, I'm an instant fan. Like I'll go look up, more stuff from them.
Sweet.
A lonely song that'll play forever. I just can't move on.
So we're on to your number 2, my friend. Although these aren't necessarily in any kind of super particular order, but
yeah, I think now that I'm kind of listening to the order I put them in, I would have put this before the last one. This is from a Polish band called Behemoth.
I love that you're like. I feel
right?
Tell me more, Professor John.
Hey, now let's see, where were we?
Oh, please, Professor, why can't we go with you and see all the crowned heads of Europe?
Do you know any? Oh, you mean the thing? Yes, I never do anything without consulting my crystal first.
I know, like, I feel so uneducated right now.
We should be at the campfire and
we're uncultured.
I know. Well,
it should make you feel good, though.
Well, in my search for, like, just new forms of rock and metal and stuff that I wanted to hear, it just happened to be that there was just a lot of European bands from places other than your typical, like your Scandinavian countries and Germany.
Right.
A lot of these other French, Italian, Greek, all these places Polish, that you don't normally like think of metal bands coming from, but they're just coming up with this incredible new sort of sounds and stuff like that. So it just happened to be, from these places. So anyway, it's Behemoth. This is from one of their more recent albums called Evangelion.
So that name sounds familiar to me. I feel like I may have heard them before.
Yeah, I think you have. I
think
we talked about them before. And but this song is called Lucifer, and it's got a really awesome video that goes with it. There's an uncensored cut it's pretty. It's not for the faint of heart.
We're gonna take a listen to this, and we'll be right back. All right, so we just listened to the Behemoth song. What was the name of the song again?
Lucifer.
Lucifer, yeah.
You see a trend here? Prometheus, Lucifer.
The word Lucifer comes from Latin, makes lux fare, making light. It's the same as in the Greek mythology Prometheus, who stole the light from the gods. It's really a sympathetic idea that all these figures are finally just one figure in different languages, but they were sympathetic to the humans. It is quite possible that our religious traditions and those who selected the old holy text some thousands of years ago, they made out an evil figure out of Lucifer and the devil. And maybe it was the other way around. He was the good one.
Yep, I do. So my first thought was my East Texas was coming out of me, where I felt like, oh, bless your heart. Like, why are you torturing yourself with this?
Bless your heart.
You're torturing. Like, it sounds like somebody would use it to torture somebody. Like, just put that on repeat for like 17 hours. And you will go crazy.
Yeah,
I feel like
that's your point.
I feel like you would. Yeah, so there might be something to that. You might be causing yourself some torture on purpose.
I don't know. I mean, they have a real loyal following, and they're pretty huge. And they're probably the more of the extreme sort of stuff. But they've just got their lyric content and
some of the lyrics I was looking up were very, very cool. Where it was what was it saying? I among the gales, the dark flame of God's might, like the hollow bell of the north wailing, I fly afar in the darkness of mountains, the red dawn I light, with spark my suffering and my inertial star. And more stuff like that. So it's got a bunch of cool lyrics for sure.
I think the goal of poetry is to evoke a common experience among readers. I think that the power of the written word when used for the purposes of arresting the body-mind, is to alter our consciousness. Poetic rapture is really more like a trance. It's a place you go. It's a hypnotic state. It's a fusion of cognition and dream. And the poetic trance is very interesting to me. It's not just when we read poetry, it's also when we get caught up in a beautiful song, or when we lose ourselves in a movie, or when we find ourselves tumbling down the rabbit hole in some kind of mediated environment, and all of a sudden we experience what in VR terms is called presence. Janet Murray, in her book Hamlet on the Holodeck, refers to this immersive state as a threshold state. So she says that we go into this liminal trance that she also describes as mythopoetic, which I love that. It blends the terms mythology and poetry to this idea of a mythopoetic state, a mythopoetic place in the mind, a mythopoetic perception that makes you be here, it makes you be now, but it actually also hurls, or rather like impregnates the now with a cosmic wink. And during those moments of poetic rhapsody, wherever we are and whatever you're doing becomes re-enchanted.
I will agree with that, and it actually seemed like it had some cool elements in it. But man, there was something to it. Like, actually, it had kind of a Danzig feel for a second when those guitars first kicked in.
Mother, tell your children not to walk my way. Oh, mother, not about to see your light. And if you want to find hell with me, I can show you what it's like till I'm bleeding.
Okay, that's enough Danzig.
I don't know. I felt Danzig. That's what came to my brain. It definitely, for me, it's still, again, I'm seeing a trend here with your music and my music. They're all very cinematic, though. Like, all of them could be used in 4 different types of genres of movies and things like that. Like, very, very easily could be used on soundtracks. So I don't know what
that is interesting.
I agree with that assessment, though. That's the same observation that I've made as well.
Right?
It might be that,
looking in.
Might be that there's a visual element to music that we have that sort of like attached to it, or something.
Yeah, awesome. I love when we uncover cool stuff on the podcast. This is why we do this. It's like therapy. So
it's therapy.
What was your reaction to this one? I know that you were like, I love this. I want it immediately. Want to hear more of it.
I bought it while we were listening to it.
Yeah.
So it was very haunted house.
Danger must be
And not like kid haunted house. We're talking like adult, scare the fuck out of you kind of haunted house. Not that I find the concept of Lucifer in itself to be intimidating necessarily. That's not, it's not related to that. It's just
the nature of the music.
Yeah,
like,
the nature of the music. It felt very, and also there was an element to the rhythmic guitar in the background that kind of reminded me of ICP a little bit,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I want to say it's like one song specifically, maybe like Piggy Pie or something like that. But it's just like a very underlying element that just triggered that.
Yeah.
That thought in my head. But aside from that, it felt very much like what it is.
Yeah, it's like a wall of sound.
It is a
you.
wall of sound. That is a great way to put that. Yeah, it is definitely a wall of sound. And if it's something that you're listening to, like while you're working out, I can definitely see how that would be a beneficial tool.
Yeah.
I can totally see you doing like the whole, old school, weight. Yeah, exactly. Weightlifter. With your little.
Hello, let us begin by introducing ourselves. I am Han.
And I'm France.
And we want to pump you up.
I think with this band too, there's kind of there's a thing where the singer, the main songwriter guy, Nergal, that's his stage name, went through a couple years ago.
I wasn't. I mean,
Mr. Nergal, he went through. He had lymphoma cancer, and he went through this big, time period where he wasn't sure whether he's going to pull through or not, and he went through his treatment and everything, and he kind of came out of it, and they put new albums out. So it's kind of this, I don't know, it's a support thing for me. I really kind of followed him through it all, and so it was kind of really supporting.
That's a cool story.
Him and his music. Plus, they challenge a lot of sort of religious liberties over in that side of the world. They really
test the boundaries,
stand up for what they're doing, and really trying to promote individualism, which is really at the root of it all. So
yeah, which is probably a theme with yours as well, I'm sure.
Yeah, big time.
Deathspell Omega with Apokatastasis Panton.
First group of the day is preparing an act that has never been seen before in the history of America's Got Talent.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what's about to happen right now, I don't want to alarm anyone or anything like that, but every light in this building is about to go out. Please stay in your seats and focus on the stage, okay?
Tipping point number one. It's all downhill from here, folks. So there's a genre that kind of pops out of this electronic music scene called GlitchHop, and There's a band called GlitchMob that I first saw on America's Got Talent, I think, or one of those shows where there's a dance troupe that did this really cool, like blacklight kind of dancing where it looked like they were kind of floating around and stuff. It was really cool, but they were on there and I was like, man, I gotta figure out who that was. And that was before Shazam, so I couldn't just, tap my Shazam app and go, here it is, immediately I know who it is. I had to try to track it down, and I realized it was GlitchMob, and I've been a fan ever since. It's got this real dirty kind of trudge rock type feel, even though it's electronic.
I'll stay for nothing less, or never stand again.
And the sounds that they use a lot are kind of low mid-range that really resonate, kind of get my particles moving, and it's the same thing. It's the same sounds I would look for, like if I was dialing in a bass tone or something like that. You know what I mean? Like some of those same tendencies. So we'll check it out. This is we're gonna check out GlitchMob's. What's the song we were going to do? Beyond
Monday.
Beyond Monday. Mm-hmm. So hop over to the YouTube channel and check it out with us. So we just hopped over to the Boombox Music Talk YouTube page and listened to GlitchMob with their song Beyond Monday. So the dance group that I was trying to remember is called Defying Gravity.
The gravitational pull of the sun keeps Earth from flying off into space. Earth's gravity keeps us firmly planted on the ground. This all seems real enough. But scientists are peering deep into the fabric of the universe and are discovering that gravity may not be what it seems to be. Can something feel real but not actually be real?
I believe they won first place, whatever it was. I think it was America's Got Talent. So we'll put some of their videos on the YouTube page as well, so you can see it. Check those guys out. I don't know what happened with them. I think they got a Vegas deal or something, and so they've got a show out in Vegas that they're doing. Yeah, that was last that I heard anyway. So don't quote me on that.
Cause the boys in the hood are always hard. Come talking that trash and we'll pull your card. Knowing nothing in life but to be legit. Don't quote me, boy, I ain't said shit.
What were your thoughts on that?
So, what do you call that style?
GlitchHop.
what parameters define that? Like what makes it that?
I don't know. I would be curious.
I was trying to make sure that what I heard was what defines that sort of genre.
To me, Chris can look up the definition for it, but what the interwebs will tell us. But to me, it's like a certain tonality that they use that's kind of low to mid-range saw sounds and the type of kick drums, and it's like super compressed.
Yeah,
you know, it's no reverb, no like it's a tight sound.
Right. I noticed that.
Yeah, but I don't know what does Google
There was
tell
just
us?
a lot of sort of effects that I'm not used to hearing in sort of like just the regular dubstep stuff.
You're right. Yeah.
There's a lot of. I mean, that's what I'm trying to figure out where the word glitch.
So basically, it's described as a genre that adheres to an aesthetic of failure, where the deliberate use of glitch-based audio media and other sonic artifacts is a central concern.
That makes a lot of sense.
So using a lot of weird sounds that are electronic and
plus
putting them together and
well, it also
weird
seems
ways.
like because several times it was like it sounded almost like a CD that gets stuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or something's wrong, or something's
like the
about
sound
to,
inverts or something.
Yeah.
You know,
or it kind of cuts out like a chord that has a cut wire in it, and it's kind of clicking on and off.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what GlitchHop is.
I get that.
That's cool. That makes sense. So, what about you, Chris? Any specific feelings that come to mind when you think about this band? I know it's somebody that we listen to quite a bit.
Oh, they're definitely like one of my top faves for sure. They're one of those. Well, first of all, this song for just today anyway, it's a perfect song for getting you through a Monday. Really, like getting you through those Monday blues or whatever. It's kind of uplifting, but they always have a really solid energy, about them, and they're pretty consistent in there.
It's almost like it's meditative, where it's neither positive nor negative.
Mm-hmm. It's neutral.
It's real neutral.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Because a lot of their other stuff is very it's easy to when you turn it on, you just kind of get lost in it, and also in your own thoughts.
And just let it repeat, stick it on loop.
Yeah, I kind of got that a little bit. I mean, there wasn't anything that was pointing me anywhere in particular. It was just sort of like
letting you float along.
Yeah,
float some jetsam.
Yeah.
Poor child. Poor sweet child. She has a very serious problem. If only there was something we could do. But there is something. Who are you? Don't be scared. We represent someone who can help you. Someone who can make all your dreams come true. Just imagine you and your prince together forever.
Keep
So anyway, that's my number one, just because they were such an instrumental sound. Because when those guys, kudos to those guys, Defying Gravity, that pulled that that sound out. I feel like ahead of the curve, because this type of sound wasn't out there really yet. So it was, to me, that's what really struck me as really interesting. So. So we're down to number one, John. What is the last song that you're gonna wow us with?
Well, I don't know if "wow" is the proper term.
So excited!
I know,
aren't you?
We're gonna heavy this metal so hard.
All right. Well, this is kind of a random band that came at me from a friend of mine, past musical buddy. He turned me on to him, and. It's kind of more of the same, but there's something unique about this band and very organic that I just find it's very attractive. The band is called Deathspell Omega, and they're a French.
Dude, I love this.
French
this
metal
has really
act.
been
I know,
like
man. These names are amazing.
This has been like a history lesson by Professor
Bedinghaus.
Professor Bedinghaus. Like,
Senior.
We're like all over the world. Like, come on a trip with John. We'll tour the world with different sounds.
Instead of eating different foods, we're listening to different.
There you go. That's a show, man.
Heavy metal.
We need to pitch that at some point, so nobody out there in the interwebs steal that. Anyway.
Yeah, this guy one time, he says he saw some bands that I've been listening to, and he says, "Guy, you got to check this out. This band Deathspell Omega, they've got this album called Paracletus." And I know it's a lot of strange names, but
like it's got a Polish bass player. He's from Italy, and he's singing about Greek things.
And it's part of a trilogy of albums that they put together, and it has a very
that's quite an undertaking.
Yes, and if you listen, it's amazing when you listen to them all together. Kind of this satanic litany kind of thing that they're going for here. So, which is more basically just saying sort of, pro individuality and freedom and personal freedom.
Yeah.
So this song is, if I can read it,
I know it's
definitely one of those.
It's quite dark in here.
Apokatastasis Panton.
Is that words?
Yes, it is.
Was it just sound like?
And I didn't say tampon.
Tampon?
Tampon?
Yeah, we're gonna listen to tampon.
Let's go get the tampon.
Anyway, that's the song's name. I'll probably have to clue you in on the typing.
Yeah.
But
it's have to Google that one in
it's
a bit.
one of the shorter on the album.
You said we're gonna giggle it?
No, I said we'll definitely have to Google that one in a bit.
We're gonna giggle this one later.
We're gonna giggle at it.
Ting tang, walla walla bing bang. Ooh ee, ooh ah ah, ting tang, walla walla bing bang.
We're seeking strength, justice, splendor. We're seeking love.
that. So we just popped over to listen to, which I feel like that was a proper song to end our show with today, with us going back and forth. Like, it felt like the curtain closed. You know,
it kind of did.
It did, right?
It's really funny.
Yeah, it is. It's the last song on that album, and it kind of closes out the album. I was thinking it was a bit more of a structured song that had more parts to it. But there's one that's earlier in the album that's a lot like that, but it was like 10 minutes, and so I was trying to steer away from that length of tune. So, but it gives you kind of the element of how they kind of sound overall.
Yeah, to me, the thing that stuck out to me that I did like about it is the bass. Queensryche just kind of kept coming to mind, like some of the guitar patterns was how the bass kind of was playing on top of it, and it kind of sounded definitely like the guy played with a pick. I don't know, he might not have, but it was just kind of that cool, dirty sound. But there was a lot going on in this song, like like it's interesting to me to watch. Like you can see the elements of things, like maybe some of the guitar work that you probably appreciate, but there's also these commonalities of very God, I don't even know how to describe it. Like just these walls of sound.
Well, they're also very avant-garde. It's not
totally
traditional
agree.
sort of music.
Very much agree.
That kind of metal.
Yeah,
normally.
Which is fun to me because that's what's kind of fun about this entire podcast today was that I think both ends of the spectrum, that's exactly what they're doing, is they're kind of trying to push the limits of what it means to be what, either, heavy metal kind of rock music or this electronic, whatever the subgenre is, just whatever. People are trying to find new ways to do different things. And to me, that's something cool to take away from today, but also the fact that I think the important thing is that no matter, even if we split and still go some different ways, as long as we keep discovering new things, I feel like too, like we just don't get relegated to the same bands and listen to them and never listen to anything else again. Whatever capacity it is, it's good that we're building and listening to new things and trying things out and going places we haven't gone before.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I'm so happy to put myself in a kind of an uncomfortable situation. Not that it's uncomfortable, but just it's not something I would
outside of your comfort zone.
It's definitely not something I would sit and let's check that tune out. But I like being sort of put in a spot and saying, no, you need to check this out, and then I go, oh wow, that's really cool. So.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, that's our kind of metal electronica episode. We wanted to kind of highlight some things and try to turn each other on. That shows you the power of a pause. Like where you put the pause could really make a difference. Because what I was going to say is turn each other on to different styles of music.
Well, if you go turn each other.
That's even that sounds
I like
on.
That too. Who here needs turning?
I need one turning.
Sounds like a wicked witch.
A spell. So
who needs turning?
Yeah. So we appreciate you guys listening to us today. Kind of ramble on about this, but it's something that I thought was worth exploring. Kind of both sides of that, and hopefully you guys heard some artists that you may not have given a chance before, if you're popping over to the YouTube page and listening to those and listening to us kind of ramble on about it. But we hope you can check them out. They're all worthy artists doing their thing and being authentic. I think is one of the things I would take away from it as well. I think that we both appreciate. Real quick, I want to remind you guys out there that you can check us out on Twitter at Boombox Talk, and pretty much all other social media. You can check us out at Boombox Music Talk. It's Facebook, Instagram, whatever.
YouTube.
Yeah, and YouTube. I will Google your Facebook if you YouTube me.
Oh yeah. Can't wait to YouTube you. I'm gonna YouTube you so hard.
YouTuber.
I've got to make sure that YouTube comes down to tape this.
You should come up with Instagram all. One drop of water and
and you get a grandma. I want that.
I do too. And then if you dehydrate it, do you just put it in your pocket and carry it around for later? Rehydrate it and it's Instagram again?
Exactly.
Nice.
I don't know. We think of good ideas on this podcast. That's all I'm saying.
This is
Instagram
Tank,
is a
man.
great idea. So, Chris, obviously, thank you for always joining me on this journey.
Of course.
Yeah, the fact that you're
Favorite
still
place to
around
be.
is a good thing. She has not left. I haven't ran her off yet. So,
yeah, because she's always joining you.
always joining me. Thank you for always joining me. Even when it's uncomfortable. No, but and obviously, John, I appreciate you coming on the show and discussing this list with me.
Thank you, sir. I had a blast. It was a lot of fun.
My brother's laughing at me right now because it's like we're recording this at like 1:33 in the morning, and my mouth is so dry that I can't hardly say any words correctly. So,
and don't forget, you can always find me.
Don't forget. Don't forget what? Don't.
This has been a Wizard Studios production.
Okay. Alright. How you doing? This is the whisper episode.
I can hear this whisper better than I can hear my own whisper. It's pretty amazing.
It is. What happens whenever you hear your own whisper before your whisper? Why do you laugh? It's been so quiet. You just let it out slowly like a helium balloon.
Oh man, that sounded like another creature.
It did sound like a creature. That was awesome. Whew. All right.